Ferns.com, 500 Sprint Car Tour Media Day, and it's my pleasure now to welcome in a fellow Michigan native, Taylor Ferns. How's it going?
Yes, it's going well. How are you?
Good, good. I'll say the same thing to you I've said to everybody else. Media Day kind of gets the buzz going, doesn't it? A little excitement.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's super important. I was joking with one of my guys before I left. I was like, oh, I got to go. And he's like, oh, picture day. Like, no big deal. But, like, to me, it's important. I think it's important, like, for your partners and to chat with everybody. And I think it gets everybody excited. You don't get excited for it until you get here.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be in the room.
You have to. Well, and that's why I say there is a buzz. Everybody's in their driver's suit. We got helmets. We've got family. We've got sponsors. Everything's here. So it's exciting. I have in my notes here, I'm going to tell you this. I have in my notes that you are a foundational female. And what I mean by that is that you've been racing for many years now because you started so young.
Yeah.
And
24.
Wow.
People look at me sideways and they're like, well, I think that's a compliment because they think I look younger than what I am.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, no, I just turned 30.
Yeah, take it. Hey, welcome to the club, girl. So, yeah. But over those years, you've ran so many different things. And that's been kind of the theme of today's interviews is everybody that's in the 500 Sprint Car Tour has such a diverse background in what they've raced. Mm-hmm. How has that applied to you in your career with this tour?
Yeah, well, you know, I think, like the 500 Sprint Car Tour and USAC Silver Crown, it's so exciting because the diversity of the drivers. And, you know, I think it's cool now that there's a lot of late model drivers that are coming sprint car racing. And, you know, my crew chief, Troy DeCare, his nephew, TJ, races late models right now. But we might actually put TJ in our sprint car stuff this year because he wants to come sprint car racing. And we're like, hey, dude, this is better than what you're doing. And I think that just makes it exciting. And, you know, like we race with really great, I say guys, but like drivers all around, but really great drivers. It's really competitive. And, you know, I think it's like for me been challenging, which I like because it really pushes me, you know, like I like to step outside of my comfort zone and, you know, try to be the best, you know, and I think, you know, that's what makes it exciting racing. And, you know, it's a variation of short races and long races. You know, sometimes we'll have 125 lappers at Anderson or, you know, the little 500. Yeah. So, you know, there's just a lot of variation and, you know, it just tests so many different skill levels, especially with the different tracks that we go to.
Well, I think about your time in ARCA with the template stock cars and then dirt sprint car racing, which I'm going to say it, Noah, right here. Taylor Ferns needs to get back behind the wheel of a winged dirt sprint car. I got that out of my system. What has led you back to 500? What has kept you here in the open wheel, non-wing, pavement sprint car ranks? Yeah,
so I'll start off. This might be kind of a long-winded story, but I kind of do like to tell it. So I started racing non-wing pavement sprint cars when I was 14. Okay. Won my very first ever start up at Spartan Speedway. I think it might be called Corrigan Oil.
Yep.
Yeah, but and I just love sprint car racing ever since. And then I went off and I did like wing 410 dirt sprint car stuff, which I will say to this day, that's my favorite form of racing.
Yeah.
But what kind of brought me
Somebody
back.
call this girl.
Yeah. No, people have been tagging me in like my Atomic or like my 410 wing days, and it makes me sad, actually.
Okay, so if somebody has a wing sprint car, call Taylor and she will drive it. A dirt, yes.
Yeah. I have a pavement one now, but specifically a dirt one. But anyways, I took some time off from racing, you know, go do my education thing. And then I was working at the Sam Bernstein law firm and I was missing racing. You know, I wasn't racing at all. And then I came back home one day and my parents surprised me with the same sprint car that I had from when I was a teenager. And so my dad was like, okay, we're just going to do this for fun, you know, family thing. No. Like by the next year. We're going full bore. But by the next year, I had a pavement Silver Crown car again. And then my dad got a pavement midget. And so it just, you know, like tumbleweeded. And so, you know, now I have 5 cars sitting in my shop.
Well, and there was a transition period, too, because it was not that long ago since I've been doing this in 2018 that you left Metro, you come down here, and you make the business yours. You make it yours. What was that like for you?
Especially at that time, it was super stressful. I was still working as an operations director at Bernstein's. I was going to law school full time, living between 2 different states. I'd like leave law school Thursday night, come down, like stay in Newcastle all weekend, and drive back to make my Tuesday morning class.
Oh my goodness!
And so I was doing that for probably about a year. But you know, when you love what you're doing, it's totally worth it. Yeah. And I've love the whole, it makes you also discover a part about yourself. Like, I love the business development side. I love, like, building things, like, figuratively. I'm not, like, actually a construction worker, but.
Well, you got to put those race cars together.
Yeah, but I just love it, like, working with the partners and working on sponsors and, like, making it a business deal.
Yeah.
It's not kind of like putting your hand out and giving me money.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how does this work out? Like, that's mutually beneficial. And, I've been doing that a lot recently. So we have a lot of exciting stuff that I've been working on. So,
I can
I'm
see
excited
it. You
for
can
this
give
year.
us some nuggets. I see you, like, you're navigating. I can't talk about that one yet.
Yeah, well, I want to, but then they're like, oh, is this all your current stuff, like same sponsors this year? And I'm like, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it's not the traditional white fire suit that you've had for the last couple of years either.
No, well, I have a white one too, but I gifted it as like a holiday gift to my sponsor. So, I have this black one for right now, but I'm having new stuff made.
Okay, all right.
So,
I'll leave it at that. I won't pressure you any further.
Yeah.
Talk about the I put here in my notes, the rule book and the law book. Why? I mean, why that path for you to study law? What was your attraction to it? And, I think when you study law and you realize how all that works, I think it helps you navigate some of these, what can be tumultuous situations in life, in business, in racing as well. So how did those two things line up for you?
Yeah, well, like in life, when you're reflective of, like, if you're going through something like a difficult period or whatever, and you think, oh, why is this happening to me, whatever, then you realize it, like, whether it's a year later, 3 years, 5, 10 years, like, you'll actually realize later on down the line, like, oh, this is why that happened. Well, when I was going for my bachelor's degree at Grand Valley, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I wasn't racing at the time, and that's all I really knew was racing,
Sure.
right? So we had to take a business law class as a prerequisite for my finance and economics degree, and I just fell in love with it, like to the point
Really?
where I was like mad when
What
professor
caught your attention
canceled
about
class. It was like it was basic tort law, and I feel like it was familiar to me because with my parents being entrepreneurs and my grandpa being an entrepreneur, like it was just very familiar, and it just kind of struck a chord.
Yeah.
And so after
it was like relatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and after that I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll go to law school. I don't even have to practice law, but if you like look at all the Fortune 500 companies and the CEOs or like people who are in the C-suite, a large percentage of them have law degrees.
Yeah.
So I just thought that it was like an important foundation for me for whatever it is that I wanted to do, and it's being really beneficial for me
That's
right
what I was
now.
going to ask. Have you seen it pay off now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I kind of joke because I'm scouting out like different law firms that I might go and work for, like different job opportunities like off the track that I might have. And, I kind of like tell I'm like a walking billboard because, it's like every time at least
well,
once
you
I
are
go.
wearing your fire suit.
Well, yeah, but it's like every time I'm at the racetrack, at least one person comes up to me and was like, hey, can you help me with this legal problem?
Wow.
And so, it's got my hamster wheels churning about different things that I can do like on the business side.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see, but it's being really beneficial, especially when I work with, like sponsors and like different I don't even like the term sponsor because to me it's a partnership,
Yeah.
but yeah, when I talk with them and like, it's not just me coming from the race car driver perspective, it's like I'm a business person. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to see a return? And then also I understand the legal side too. So like contract negotiations and if I want certain items added in or taken off, and so
Yeah.
it's been beneficial.
That's cool. Do you have a passion for law like you do for racing, or is it more of a job?
Yeah, I like certain aspects of working in legal. I don't. There's certain things that I do not like. I despise writing legal briefs.
Okay.
I'm a great writer. Also, I think it depends on what I'm writing about.
Sure.
But yeah, but they're like the business development side, like the contract and negotiation, like that kind
Yeah.
of like the business side.
Okay.
I really love.
That's
Also,
fine.
if it's about racing, obviously.
Yeah. Well, just
anything
like
with
racing, though. There's things in racing nobody likes to go through tech.
Right.
So.
Right. You're sometimes in order to get to where you want to go, you have to do things you don't want to do.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Let's talk about that trophy sitting next to you, little 500.
Yeah.
Really interesting stat that I pulled this week getting ready for this. One start for you in the little 500. What is with that? Because you have a lot of 500 Sprint Car Tour starts.
Yeah.
Why have you, I'm going to say, have avoided this race?
So, one part is like when my dad was running my team, he got to a point with all the different stuff that I had ran over the years, and like my dad just being the business person that he is, he was like, he got to a point where he was done having kind of like one race cars or like buying stuff for one race and then it sits. And also I had raced so many different things. Like it is a big investment to buy something and then who really knows if I was going to do it again.
Yeah, right.
And so my dad just didn't want me to run it at all. Or I should say he just didn't want to run it, so the investment was never made.
Yeah.
But then, when I took over the team and, I was working with a different group, it like logistically just wasn't going to work out because they already had 2 cars.
Yeah.
So if I was going to run, I was going to have to go run for somebody else. And I know the equipment that I have is great, and we run up front at Anderson a lot. And so I really wasn't interested in doing that. And so, when my situation evolved and kind of gave me more freedom, last year. So, I kind of decided 4 weeks before Troy DeCare and I were talking about it, and I was like, what, F it, I'm signing up.
I love that.
So, yeah, it was like,
again?
lick the stamp and send it. We registered this year.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a goal. Like, when I say I'm going to do something, like, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So, even if I feel like I can put a deal together in 3 days, like, that's just who I am. And so, we're going to try to make it happen.
The Little 500 is such a tough race anyhow. Like making the race goal 1, okay, and then what? For somebody so you have the race 1 under your belt now. Now you kind of know what to expect. What are you looking at for this year?
Yeah. So this year, there were different things that we had to go through objectively, obviously, to get there. Mm-hmm. It's definitely there's a lot of people and a lot of different elements involved.
You got to have a whole pit crew for this race. I mean,
yeah, and then the fuel system. Honestly, if it wasn't for Aaron Pierce and Sam Pierce Chevrolet, we probably wouldn't have made it because there was certain things that we needed in order to do it. So this year. I've ran it before. I have driven it now. We got knocked out of the race early on. I've also had experienced it from the spotter's point of view. I spotted for Caleb Armstrong a couple times. So, I know it from that perspective also. So, this year, I want to finish the race. And then I know, as long as you can finish the race and finish on the lead lap.
You got a shot.
Yeah. And I know, I've run really well at Anderson, I feel rather consistently. So... I feel pretty great when I go there. It's kind of like homecoming.
Yeah, for sure. Joe James, Pat O'Connor Memorial winner at Salem, a race in which I think you've told me before you had no brakes for when you won that race.
Yeah.
But if I know you from all the years interviewing you, I think I know you're tired of resting on that.
Oh, yeah.
How hungry are you for another win?
Oh, yeah, we're ready. Yeah. Last year, we're kind of redeveloping, right? Troy DeCare started working for me. And so, he's really great, especially on the wing pavement sprint car side. So, the non-wing stuff, he knows racing. He knows sprint cars really well. And that's kind of where we bonded because we both love pavement sprint car racing a lot. And so, we've also had a lot of other great people to rely on, like Tracy Hines. I'm still super close with him. And so, he's just a text message or phone call away. And Bobby's was helping us out a lot. And so, we went back to the high banks and still we ran second at both. I really wanted that win at Salem. So, I think I might have the best average finish at the high banks right now.
What is it about Winchester and Salem? I was talking, if your ears were ringing the other day, it was because we were talking about you.
Oh.
What is it about the high banked, fast racetracks that fit your driving style? Winchester, Salem, maybe even Toledo. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to me it relates back to my wing dirt sprint car days. You had to drive those cars really hard.
Yeah. On
really
the ragged
hard.
Edge.
Yeah, and I love that. So I think that gets me going. As the more dangerous I feel like it is.
So you cut your brakes on purpose at Salem is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, you know what? Give me a challenge. I was just telling one of the other guys, I like making my life as challenging as possible if people haven't realized yet.
Oh, my goodness.
So there's definitely the things about it, Winchester and Salem, they are hard racetracks and, they're enduring races. They are longer and they're harder on the car, too. So different variables, with tire wear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I love the high bank. It just pushes me,
Sure.
more so mentally too.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I want to talk about your outreaches. You talk about being so busy, and you've been very involved in outreaches over these last couple of years. Are you still doing the safety bank?
Yeah, so we are. I'm kind of on the back end doing a business, evolving plan, if you will. There's some things like when we first launched it that I realized, like, okay, it was really just me doing everything. And so, I
remember you talking about that, like, you have pallets of stuff show up.
Yeah.
And Taylor's responsible for unpacking the pallets.
Yeah, and it's like we do have a board of people, but like boots on the ground is me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like doing some things on the back end to evolve to where like it's not so dependent on me.
Right.
Because if something was to happen to me, like what's going to happen to it, you
Sure.
know? So just to kind of like refine those systems, like streamline it a little bit more. And so, yeah, I'm like hoping that we can probably get more deeper in the weeds with that over the summer. There's just some other things that I've been working on too.
Yeah, I know. Well, and again, you're so busy. You have so many projects. What else are you? Because I remember that you had Safety Bank, but I feel like you had some other things that you were doing, maybe through like your connection with other women in sports as well.
Yeah, so I'm involved with Shift Up Now.
Shift Up Now, that's what it is. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a grant recipient, but I work closely. That's one of Pippa Mann's foundations, and I work closely with those men and women. They're really great, and I feel like they have a great mission of, supporting females in motorsports to try to help keep them on the track. And, by doing that is like funneling them money.
Right.
And which is appreciated.
That's what it takes.
Yeah, for sure. So, I kind of also being Indianapolis based now, whenever they need something last minute for somebody to go do an interview or something like that, like I'm always like willing to raise my hand.
Yeah.
Because they've helped me out a lot the past couple years. So yeah, I really enjoy working with them. And I always I keep really every day I have a meeting or two about a variety of different things.
Yeah.
And a lot of it just involves growing my race team. So I'm really excited for a lot of the stuff that I've been working on, especially like the past month. And so I'm really excited for this year because I'll be working in a variety of different arenas. Like I'm going to be a driver. I'm a car owner. Like Troy DeCare's driving my wing pavement car for Race for the Million. And then I think I may hop in it like for some of the must-see races.
Sure.
We might do driver swap or whatever. But yeah, just I kind of do a little bit of everything.
Transitional thing here for me and for the show, because we're going to talk to a couple of Kenyon Midget drivers coming up in just a minute. Mm-hmm. You're a former Kenyon Midget Series winner, right?
Yeah.
How did that series play into as a stepping stone, or really, how did you use that series to progress your career?
Yeah, so I was super young when I started racing Kenyons. I was 12.
Yeah.
But they're honestly, I'll tell people, one of the hardest cars to drive, honestly. Just with a variety of different things, it being kind of like, momentum based and, no power steering.
Yeah.
They're tough. So especially for me, like being like very pre-developed, they really kicked my butt, but it made everything after that easier.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great stepping stone. I think it's cool now to see it still going.
Sure.
And, you have people of a variety of different ages, racing.
It feels like it's on the uptrack too. Like Brad and his group are doing such a good job getting it back in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where the Evan Hammonds, the Ayrton Hoeks, where these guys end up.
Yeah.
Using Kenyon as a stepping stone.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool to see. And, like anything, like a lot of racing is super cyclical. So, you'll see things come and go. But, yeah, it's definitely been cool to have them as a support series. And I think also with the sprint cars being there, it gives them, like, a bigger picture of, especially for the younger kids, like what they could do next,
Well, I asked you about the little 5, and you looked right at that trophy, and you stared it up and down a little bit.
I know. I'm just, like, thinking about maybe where I can put it.
Yeah. What? Right. Would that be the biggest of your career?
I probably up to this point, yeah. Like for me, I love sprint car racing, and so like what's like one of the pinnacles of sprint car racing would be the little 500.
Yeah.
Like I've won in wing dirt 410 stuff. I've won in non-wing pavement sprint cars at Salem, and run well in a lot of different places. But I think I have not won a sprint car race at Anderson yet, and we've been so close.
So any of them.
So I just feel like honestly the good energy.
Yeah.
Not that racing or anything owes you anything at all, but I just feel like, if I'm going to win a race at Anderson and, like, lose all the other ones, like, we'll make it up if we win the little 500.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. Taylor, I appreciate you making time. This has been great. I'm excited for this upcoming season. Full tour for you this year, do you think? Don't know yet.
I think so. I'm not going to I'm not
very
committing.
non-committal today.
Right. I'm not going to commit because like we also have a bunch of different. There's other options for us to go race too, and we have a handful of different conflicts. So
could be different sponsors, could be a different suit.
But so we might be flying by the seat of our pants a little bit, but sometimes it might be just a game time decision on where we're going to go depending on where we're at that point.
Which is why you need to follow Taylor Ferns on social media and figure out where she's going to be.
Yeah.
So thank you for making time.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. As I mentioned, we're going to talk Kenyan Midgets coming up next. You're live from the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Media Day.